So guys, we're gonna be moving into part 2 this week, and part 3 next week. And why part 3? Because I keep on trying to jam the information in, and it's just too much to put in, and I don't want to go over it so fast that you can't catch it. So I just have to continue to do them until I get it all done. So this is going to be part 2 again on what are you worth. This one is called What Are You Worth Now? If for any reason you get kicked off, if you can't get back in, I am on YouTube Live as well. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Training by Dunbar, you will see this playing live there as well. So you can always go there. You can still make comments and things there as well. Remember, on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you click the subscribe button. If you're not seeing that right now, it's because you're on live, so you're not going to see it until the recording is there. So when I say that it's being recorded, and during that recording, we need you to be able to hit the subscribe button. And also, when you go back and look at the recording, there will be different things that'll go across the top of my head that will actually be links to other videos that I have or other channels that I suggest that you go in and listen to as well. So all those things will be on the recording. For those who have not received, which will be everybody on this line, who have not received last week's recording, is because I'm having some editing still being done to it. And once that's done, then they'll turn it over to me, and then I'll have it uploaded. So I apologize for that. You guys will get the slideshow with that as well. And then I'll continue to keep doing these week for week here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the slideshow up. And once I get the slideshow up for you all, I'll get moving on this train. Of course, I'll do a couple of slides and some recap for those who are joining us this week, who did not join us last week. And also, these trainings are for everybody. I know a lot of you all know that. I have clients on this training as well. So I do have people from Legal Shield. I do have some of my personal clients that get on this training once a week or listen to the recording as well. And the last couple of weeks, we've been pretty much international because UK has been jumping on as well, which I'm excited about. So feel free to invite. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be running a contest here in the next week or two based on giving away a couple of more books. And I'm going to be discussing 2 of those books on this training tonight. So doing some personal development giveaways. So, because why not give away education if you're going to give away something? So I feel like it's better for me to give away something that you can read, get some takeaways from. And I hope that Ms. Haynes and Ms. Jody got their books by now. If so, please let me know in that chat that you received your books that you guys won as well. So, all right, Wilma's holding hers up. Conquer Fear, I love it. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, so let me get the slideshow back up so I can start going over some of this material for you all, and we'll move from there. All right. Okay, so we're looking at what are you worth now? What are you worth now? Real quickly, I'm going to do something here. If I stop this, tell me real quickly if you guys can still see the screen, the PowerPoint. You can still see the PowerPoint, just jump in the chat and just say you can. Or you can say yeah if you want to. Yes, okay, good. Good. Yes. And I'm going to ask you guys to utilize this chat because I like to engage through chat. Also, if you all can, if anybody's willing to do any volunteering, I'm going to call on a couple of people to ask a couple of questions to kind of engage during this training on a couple of different parts of it. So anybody that's willing, just kind of get it in your mind now that you're going to want to do it. It's not going to be anything like really personal or anything. So when I jump in and ask that, I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time so you don't have to think about it when I do it. And whoever, kind of raises their hand first. So, and as a matter of fact, do me a favor, just if you're willing for me to call on you to ask you a couple of questions on some volunteer, on kind of a volunteer thing, just put your hand up. Go ahead and hit that button and put your hand up. That way, when it's that time, I can just go and Sharanda Ivy, who's in the background, can just unmute that person when it's time for me to ask the question, and then we can do it that way. So good stuff. All right, love that you guys are engaging through chat. So what are you worth now? Value attracts wealth. Of course, we are going to be going over a couple of different things. Of course, recapping, we're going to be talking about value attracts wealth. increasing your value and confidence. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to spend quite a bit of time on increasing your value and confidence. So streams of income and creating value for your team, we're going to end up taking into next week. If we can do some of it tonight, we will. But you'll see at the end of the slideshow, I already have it set up for next week, just because, again, as I put these slides together and look at my training material, I want to get in there as much as I can and not kind of short you on it. So sometimes I do have to extend it to another week. Because it's just more material. It always sounds real different in my head than it does when I get it on paper. So most of y'all that know me, if anybody's new that doesn't know me, of course you can listen to any of my previous trainings and I'll go over my entire story. But I do have almost 15 years as a business owner. I've owned about 5 or 6 different companies, everything from a nightclub to assisted living facilities. Right now, primarily, my time goes into network marketing, which is Legal Shield, which is a company I've been a part of for 9 years now. And also, I'm a trainer for companies, and I train for Legal Shield, and I have personal clients that I train on being an entrepreneur and helping them with their specific business in their specific industry. So I also do that as well here. So of course, on the family side, I've got a 14-year-old son. I've got a 21-year-old son that's in the Army, been in the military for about 3 years, who is in Colorado and actually on his way to Germany. And I also have a 24-year-old daughter who lives in New York. And my 24-year-old daughter, for those that know, she has a mental illness. And then we have her granddaughter down here with us. And of course, I have the pleasing pleasure on Friday to be doing a daddy-daughter lunch for Father's Day with my grandbaby. So that's going to be excellent and fun. And of course, I'll be posting pictures about that because that's like my life. That's like my life now, my little grandbaby. So your wealth is created by creating value in yourself. Look at that quote. That one was by me. So your wealth is created by creating value in yourself. So we're going to talk a little bit today here about how to add value for yourself and not have to add really a bunch of extra time. Because as you get better at what you do, you want to be able to make more money without having to spend more time. So we're going to get into that as we get into these slides. But of course, last week we started by going over the definition of value, the regard that something is held to deserve, worth, or usefulness, a person's principle or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what's important in life. We also went over the word worth as well, sufficiently good, important, or interestingly, to justify a specified action, deserving to be treated or regarded in the way specified, and having income or property amounting to a specific sum, and also high value or merit. We also talked about last week calculating your value or worth. How much are you worth per hour, how much per day, and how much is your education worth, and also whether the person that employs you, if you have a 9-to-5, is actually making more money off of your college degree than you are. And if they are, we want to get you in a position where that's not your lifestyle, because that's not really a good place to be for you to pay student loans and spend all that time and energy going to college and then letting someone else make more money off of that college degree than you. So we did some calculating of your value and your worth. We talked about how realtors make money, how network marketers make money, how fitness trainers make money, how 9-to-5ers make money, and how you can add value to yourself by doing that. So again, if you want to see that training, once it's done being edited, it will be on the Facebook page, Becoming an Entrepreneur. It will also be on the YouTube page as well, YouTube channel as well. So you can go and listen to that. So moving into this week's training, my first question for you all is, are you an empty dreamer? Are you an empty dreamer? So what do I mean by empty dreamer? So, and I'm gonna open this chat, well, the chat is open up, but I'm opening up so I can see it here. And I want you guys to, again, just, if this is you, if this is your life, if this is the world that you live in, I want you to mention some things here as I talk about this. But In your life, how many of you all remember when you were in high school going to college? Back in those, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, when you just wanted it all. You wanted the big house, you wanted to drive a nice car, you wanted to have the great education. You really wanted this specific lifestyle that you had in your mind that you knew you were going to live. Like all of these different hobbies and traveling the world and, going out of the country for a month at a time. Guys, I know you guys remember those days. And you dream and you dream and you dream and you dream. And then what happens is life gets in the way. And when I say life gets in the way, I don't mean in a negative way. So sometimes we hear people say life gets in the way and they're thinking that something bad happened. No, when I say life gets in the way of your dream, meaning that you may get married and have kids. And yes, those are great things to get married and have kids, but they may prevent you from extending that college education. That might prevent you from taking trips across country when you were thinking about doing it because you hadn't found anybody at that time. And you knew what being a parent was, but all of the parents on this webinar right now, you guys know, I don't care how much you think you know about being a parent. Until you're actually a parent, you really don't know. So you're thinking, I can juggle a child and still dream. Of course I can. Of course I can juggle a child and still dream. But then when that child comes and you realize that, man, this is difficult. I've got a spouse to keep happy or a significant other. I've got a child to keep happy. You got all these things going on, programs and dropping the kid off before you go to work and then picking the child up after you get off of work. If you're a woman, sometimes you're cooking once you get home. If you're a man, sometimes you're cooking once you get home. You're trying to have date night with your significant other. Like all of these things are going on. You're trying to save money for a house, right? You're working a job where you don't, your college degree is not being used. I mean, just all of these things are happening in your life and you're saying, man, this is not what I had in store. Now, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that you're not happy. But you start to become an empty dreamer because now you've gotten to a point to where, man, them dreams now, you just dream in free time. Let me get a guess if y'all know what I'm talking about. You dreaming for a day off work. I wish I could be off this Friday. You dreaming for a better job. You dreaming just to get out the rental that you're living in and to be able to buy a house. So now your situation has changed because real life has hit you. And it's really easy to dream when we're not living in the exact world of having bills. Like you guys remember when you were living in your parents' house and they used to upset you and you used to be like, I wish I could just move out. And you move out and you realize, man, you never understood why you had all the rules and regulations. And as soon as you moved out your house, you got a whole bunch of rules and regulations in your house because you said, okay, I see what mom and dad was doing now. I see why they were saying that now. Right? Just think about your situation right now. How many of you all right now are saying the very same things to your children that were being said to you and you thought your parents were stupid, crazy, and some other words when they were saying it to you, and now you saying it to your kids. Now you saying it to your grandkids. Why? Because you didn't understand when they were saying it to you because you weren't living that lifestyle. When you're 17, 18, 19, you think a 30-year-old who is not on top of the world is doing bad. Oh, they're a loser. That's the kind of car they're driving? That's all they make? Because you're 17, 18, 19 years old and you just think that life is going to be so easy. It's going to be so sweet. And then you get 25 years old and you're saying, man, I get it now. I get it now. This mortgage, this rent, these CODs, this annual property tax. These kids grow, as soon as I buy my outfit, they grow out of it. As soon as I buy the shoes, they grow out of it and don't have a little boy. So you start to understand that life can really get in the way. All right. I saw Sharanda in that chat say life happens, right? And when it happened to me, I had to get back motivated because at the time I didn't understand the term empty dreamer. I wasn't being an empty dreamer, or I was, but I didn't know that that's what that was. See, a lot of us deal with what's in front of us, right? Out of sight, out of mind. That's so interesting when you talk about mindset, when it's out of sight, out of mind. See, your brain can't protect you from things that it doesn't realize is even in your environment at the time. That's where the term out of sight, out of mind comes from. And see, now you're dealing with all the things that are right in your face and all the stuff that you dreamt about, this career, this big house, traveling across the country, and here it is now, you're 30 years old and you don't even have a passport. Because you're dealing with what's in your face. And at some point, you got to get back motivated. And you got to get back in the space with people who are dreaming and moving and running full speed ahead. You got to start dreaming again so that you can create value for yourself. Because see, is what happened is in the process of all this happening, some of the women that's listening to this webinar, in that process of all these things of life happening, you know, sometimes the father of that child ended up being abusive, right? Sometimes you've been told at your job that you weren't any good because you thought that you were going to be able to do a specific thing. And then you got there and realized that you couldn't do it as well as you thought. And you've been beat down by life. You've been beat down by a spouse. You've been beat down by a significant other. Sometimes your kids get 16, 17 years old, they get rebellious and you get beat down by them. You got a child that's got a mental illness or has autism or is being bullied in school because they're overweight. And so you got all these things taking advantage of you now. And now your value has turned you into nothing, so you feel. And you start to just get by every day. And you're not realizing that you're getting further and further away from your dreams, but you got to start dreaming again. You got to start creating value again. Because you're never going to get where you should get. You're never going to earn what you should earn if every single dollar that you make, you have to work hard for or work overtime for. Or be in a position where you're not in control of your own life so that you can pay your bills. So you got to start dreaming again and creating value. So how do I start dreaming again? Here are a couple things you can do, right? So you can meet with your family, assuming that they're not dream stealers, right? Assuming that they're not dream stealers, you can meet with your family and say, look, now, Sharon, I know you got a husband, but I'm going to be your husband on this example. So tell him I apologize if you listen. Love you, bro. Right? And I come home and I say, hey, baby, we need to sit down and talk. Because, like, you know what? My boss pissed me off today. And, like, I don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. We don't deserve this. We need to start having a conversation about when we met. We had all these dreams we talked about on the first, second, third, fourth date, and all of a sudden now we got 2 kids, and our mom is staying with us because she's in a condition where she can't take care of herself, and and we got all these things going on, and all we're doing now is we're servicing everybody, but we're not getting to any of our dreams. We need the game plan. We need to start doing some personal development. We need to start working together and let the kids know that we're working on something and that we're gonna need some time away from them. Not meaning that you're not home, but saying, hey, look, we need to put some things on our calendar that's going to allow us to dream again so that we can really get you guys where y'all need to be. Get y'all in the best school. Get y'all active doing some things where we're showing up to games and you guys are getting the right amount of practice or going to karate school or going, whatever it is, right? Maybe you got a daughter that wants to be a ballerina and she wants to take some classes and you can't get her in those classes because you don't have the time and you don't have the money. But we're going to start dreaming again, even if that means starting with the kids' dreams. We're going to start dreaming again and meeting with the family. Because remember, about 2 weeks ago, I talked about that job that you may have if you're somebody on this line with a job. And There's some people meeting every single day about who they let go. Your name just probably hadn't hit that list yet. And there's somebody on here right now that's self-employed, that they're only self-employed because their name hit that list. So you got to meet with your family because, see, they're meeting about you, but you're not meeting about them. And see, once you meet with your family, then you have to start increasing your personal development. And how are you going to do that? We talked about that already on some of these other trainings. As a matter of fact, we get an entire training on personal development. But then every week we've been talking about it just a little bit, how you can increase your personal development by just going to YouTube, by just getting a audible.com account and allowing them to give you 1 credit free every month. It's $14.95. That's $15 a month. You're automatically getting a free book of whatever value, because you can buy any book at any value with that 1 free credit. But you can listen to YouTube all day long by just figuring out what it is that you want to be listening to. I just, again, was listening to, the last 2 nights, I've been listening to Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. That book costs about $15, $16 in audible.com, but I don't need to pay that for it. Guess why? Because I can get it free on YouTube. And Brian Tracy is being a mentor to me, and he doesn't even know that. So you can increase your personal development. So look, I said, what's your dream? Hey, look, I want to travel the world. So guess what you could do? You could go to YouTube and you can say, put in the search bar, videos of people traveling the world on vacation. And I promise you a whole bunch of videos to pull up. And then you can start looking at those videos and start dreaming again and start hearing about how they're able to financially do that, finding out where they got their passport at, finding out where they're finding the time at. And now you're putting in your brain the things that you need to hear. And your brain is saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, for some reason, is looking at all these videos that have to do with traveling across the world. So he or she must be looking at traveling around the world. You see how I'm tying this all together to the other trainers? So now you're going to take your whiteboard, you're going to start putting some pictures of places that you want to travel on the whiteboard, because I remember looking at the whiteboard training, and Jackie Cote had plenty of pictures on her whiteboard of where she wanted to be and where she wanted to go. And then she looked back at it and found out that her and her husband took pictures in those very places. So see, the thing about these trainings out, this is not just about, hey, I want to work harder to earn more money. No, this is about setting a mindset, because guess what? Warren Buffett doesn't necessarily work a lot harder than you do. Denzel Washington doesn't really work a lot harder than you do. He just figured out how to make more money with his time than you did. And he did that by changing his mindset. So I'm seeing Ann Patterson, right? I just need travel advisory to be lifted. South Africa, here I come. And I bet you, if I was trying to go to South Africa, I would be looking at every video I could about South Africa, about the lifestyle in South Africa, about how it looks, whether it be the part in South Africa where there are people still living in huts versus the places downtown that are really still business savvy. I would be looking at all those things. I would be looking at what kind of shots I needed to get before I went there. I would be looking at the prices to fly. I would literally go to Google and have it tag me every time the flights change to Africa. These are the things that you have to do. You have to actually get yourself involved. The same way when you want that vehicle once a month, you got to go to that car place and test drive that vehicle so that your brain knows you want that vehicle. You got to increase your personal development. You got to increase your personal development. And you got to change your circle of influence. You got to change your circle of influence, because your circle of influence is going to determine on how you stick to the plan. Because it's one thing to say, I want to go to Africa, but it's another thing to want to go to Africa when none of your friends have a passport. None of your family have a passport. Nobody you know has been to Africa. Nobody you know is even talking about going to Africa. And when you mention Africa, they call you stupid and say that you're simple. And where you going to get the time off work? And how you going to pay for that? And who going to watch your kids? And what your spouse going to say? You got to get away from those people. You got to get around people that when you say, I want to go to South Africa, they're going to say, you ain't been there yet? Those are the people that you have to be around. You got to change your circle of influence so that the people in your space understand, because that's how they are. My circle of influence are business owners. My circle of influence are trainers. The people that I spend time around, that I spend time on the phone with, they're either going to be customers or people, either it's somebody that I'm training or it's somebody training me. Does that make sense? The only in between is going to be family. See, either I'm pouring into somebody or somebody's pouring into me. I'm not going to be the guy bouncing my granddaughter on my knee in my living room. I'm going to be the person that my granddaughter's going to have a passport and be in Paris at 3 or 4 years old, taking pictures. Not with a backdrop of Paris, but we're going to actually be in Paris. Because you can absolutely have everything you want right here, right now. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or woman. It doesn't matter whether you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter whether you're attractive or unattractive. It doesn't matter whether you're a millennial or whether you're 67 years old on this line right now. You can do exactly what you want to. Come on, Ann, I see you. Daughter had a passport at 6 weeks old. This is the lifestyle that you've got to want for yourself, and you got to think big. So wealth is usually attracted, not pursued. Wealth is usually attracted, not pursued. Jim Rohn. Sure you guys are familiar with Mr. Jim Rohn. So value definitely attracts wealth. There is no doubt in my mind that value attracts wealth. So get familiar with why and how you are valuable. So, Sharanda, are there any hands up? Anybody got their hand up so I can use them for an example? I'm gonna talk to Smile. I'm have Sharanda unmute you. And actually, you can unmute yourself. I got it set up where you can unmute yourself. So I want to have a conversation with somebody. Who wants to have a conversation?
Barbara Smith.
Barbara Smith. Okay, Barbara Smith.
Hi.
I'm gonna go ahead and open my camera up too. You can go ahead and open your camera up too, so you
Okay.
can pull up.
Okay.
So I want to have a conversation with you because you got to get familiar with your why, and you got to get familiar with how you are valuable and whether you know. Because believe it or not, Barbara, there's a lot of people who do not know whether they're valuable or not. They'll in political correctness, they'll say yes because they know what they're supposed to say. But if you say to that person, why are you valuable? You know, I had a girl one time that I was dating break up with me because I asked her that question. I asked her, I said, let's have a conversation about what we bring to the table. She didn't like that question. She told me if I didn't know what she brought to the table, I shouldn't be dating her. So now I ain't dating her no more. How about that? Because you need to be able to tell me what you bring to the table, and I should be able to tell you what I bring to the table, right? On the same page. So my question to you is, I'm sure you think you're valuable, but what value do you bring to the table? If somebody asks you that question, why are you valuable? Tell me why you're valuable in your personal life and in your career.
I'm valuable. Mr. Dunbar, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. I am valuable because I am blessed to do many things other than just work a 9-to-5 job. It took me a long while to figure that out, but I finally got it. The reason I'm valuable is because I have a lot of gifts that I can use. For example, when I was a LA County employee, and I still am, I work in elections. when we have the presidential election. What I do, I wanted more than just going to a 9 to 5. We work from 7 to 7, Monday through Sunday. And this, we did not get off. You couldn't ask for anything. That is one of the things that really, really got to my heart is, when you have, like you say, life events happen. I don't have any small children, but, sometimes I would look at people, when their kids get sick, you can't take off. See, these are the things that I would look at and I would see with other family members. But this is why I value myself more than just working or just being a county employee. I'm not knocking working. I would never do that. But you have to realize, like you say, you have to realize you're more valuable than just what they were paying me. And that's what I realized. When that hit me, that just like knocked me off my feet. But my husband was always for me not working. He could see things in me that I didn't even see in myself. And I do a lot of things. I do income tax return. I want to open and will be opening up a business. But the way I got to realize that, listening to you, Miss Sharanda Ivy, John C. Maxwell, all the personal development people, Les Brown, Jim Rohn. I've even had for years, I've been with Mr. Rohn before he passed away and even before he got sick. My children, my daughter now they're 38 and 48. So my little girl wasn't even born when I used to hang with Mr. Rohn. But I thank God for my mother and father. I thank God for my brother, L.C. Green. He's their friends. So when my children were small, I was always working. That's our mindset. And you're absolutely right. Our mindset, my mindset, you always think that you can just do only a 9 to 5, but you got to change your mind. You have to change your mind. So that is what I learned, was to change my mindset. Hanging with Mr. Rohn, L.C. Green, Les Brown, John C. Maxwell, even Mr. John Addison. All of these people I hung around well over 30 years ago. But as Mr. Rohn said back then, 40 plus years ago, you're not ready. And I couldn't understand what he was saying when I was pulling boxes for my brother, selling fingernail polish, selling books, selling everything there is. But until you can change your mindset to know that you are and can do more, you'll always be at a dead end. So I haven't went back to the job in 3 years. My Legal Shield business is gonna be my vehicle. Normally, I have a free trip to Kenya. My brother owns land there. My sister-in-law is from Kenya, and we have gobs of land there. So I have a lot of dreams. And as you say, when you stop dreaming, and I stopped dreaming, things happen. My husband was making gobs of money in real estate, but when the real estate market crashed, we had to revamp. I lost my job back in 2003, so I had to revamp. So a lot of things that you have to do, I did. So I think I'm on the road now, and I really believe that your coaching, all of this is going to help me just pop. So I'm waiting for it.
So how long did it just take you to answer that question, do you feel like?
How long did it take me to answer it?
Yeah, how long were you just speaking? Do you have any idea?
To realize what I needed to do. It was
No. How long, like literally, how long were you just talking just now?
About 10, maybe about 10 minutes.
No, less than that. You're talking less than that. Less than 10 minutes.
Well,
So
I say maybe 5.
Okay, and I want you to do an exercise for me.
Okay.
And I'm gonna move on to the next person, but I want you to do an exercise for me. What I want you to do is every day,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to ask like I ask you that question every day. And in the morning, I want you to get up and I want you to answer that question again. And at night before you go to bed, I want you to answer that question again.
Okay.
I want you to say those things to yourself
Okay.
that you just said to us twice a day.
Okay.
Once in the morning and once at night. And in a week from now, I'm gonna check back with you to find out how different you feel after doing that for 7 days, twice a day. Does that make sense?
7 days, twice a day. Yes, sir.
Yep, morning and night. First thing when you get up, preferably before you get out the bed, and the second time at night, once you get into bed, before you go to sleep, do it again.
Okay.
Right? Tell yourself how much value you have. Make sense?
Yes, it makes lots of sense.
Right. Absolutely. Miss Melissa, I see your hand up. You ready to talk to us, Miss Melissa?
Yes, hello.
All right, good stuff. How are you? You good?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. Can you put your camera on, or you can't? Are you not in a position?
There.
All right, there we go. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions and just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
So money,
Freedom,
wealth,
power,
being able to live wherever you want.
flexible.
Let's go to the gym tomorrow.
Let's do it.
No, that's good stuff. Now, you see those answers? Why did I do that? Because how people respond to stuff lets you know, it lets you know how they feel about those things, even if they're not doing it, right? So when I say money, some people, money just is a bad thing because they don't have it, because they've been taught, trained somewhere in their life, and you'll see the next couple of slides I'm gonna go over, we're gonna talk about that. They have a bad relationship with money. So they don't like to talk about money. If you bring money up to that person, they kind of fold. They start getting an attitude, they get frustrated because they don't even want to discuss it, because every month they run out of money before they run out of month. And they don't know what to do about that. So it gets them frustrated. When you say wealthy person or wealthy people, or you talk about wealth, they don't want to talk about wealth because they feel like they can't ever get there. And they think wealthy people are running the world and taking over the world and nasty, mean people, and they just out to get them, right?
Right.
You can tell when you say things to them. When I say, let's go to the gym, it's like, like they don't even want to, right? See, it's one thing to not be going to the gym. It's another thing to not want to go to the gym. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all up here. It's all in the mindset. And see, the way you answer those questions, what that tells me is that you've got the correct mindset. And we've got to ask ourselves those questions. Ask yourself, everybody on this webinar right now, ask yourself, how do you really feel about money? How do you feel about wealth? How do you feel about working out every day? How do you feel about eating healthy? Do ideologies pop in your head that you really know aren't true just because you really don't want to do it? Those are the things that you have to ask yourself to see whether or not your mind is set in a place where you can move forward. Because if it's not, you got some personal development you need to do in those areas. If your mind is saying, okay, no, great, like you said, I said, let's go work out, let's do it. Like somebody will hit me up and they'll just ask me that question. They randomly ask me because they really think I'm just going to kind of just have a conversation with them, right? And I'm typically saying like local, or if I'm traveling. So let's say I'm going out of town. Let's say I'm on the way to Maryland, or I'm on the way to Texas. And somebody may know that because I post that in places that I'm going to do a training. And somebody will say, hey, Dunbar, when you come, man, let me know. I'll meet you at the gym. And I say, absolutely, I'll text you when I get there. I text them and they don't answer.
You know, the last time I've been to the gym, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute?
But,
that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
But
Yeah.
it's funny because I just did a vision board and I put on there goal is to minimum of 2 times a week exercise.
Absolutely.
So that's why I was able to answer that question quickly, because it was already on my mind.
Absolutely. And see, that's good because, again, you create the vision. So in order for you to start creating a vision board, that means your mindset, you're starting to train your mind to do something different. You follow that? So it changed your response already. That quick.
Yeah, I just
so this is live, guys. So I want you guys to realize what's going on. Like this, and this has nothing to do with me. This is just happens to be the person that called him, Melissa. Like this happens to be what it is. Her mind has changed that fast. That she's put it on her vision board because she knows she needs to be doing it. And then when I asked her about working out, first thing she said was, let's do it. Why? Because she's already seen that on her vision board. And she had to think about that enough to even put that on her vision board. She had to. So it's already changing the way she thinks because her brain says she must want to go to the gym because she put it on there, because all the process of cutting it out and putting it on a board, your brain sees all that. Your brain feels all that. And your brain is thinking she's putting the gym on this board. So she had to think about that to do that. You
That's
guys
cool
follow?
how that kind of made a full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, whether it be you make $1 million next year, whether it be right, you may say, I'm gonna make $1 million next year. You may not make $1 million, but I bet you're gonna make more than you made this year.
Mhm.
It really works that way, but we don't actually do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, good stuff.
Thank
So
you.
you go ahead and I want to do that with you. Just I want like to kind of engage the people on here.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate it. That was
yeah,
helpful.
absolutely. You got it. You got it. My phone should not be ringing, guys. I'm sorry. I thought it was on ignore, but I guess it's not. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this slide back up here and go over a couple of things on the slide. And I know there's somebody else with their hand up as well. And we will get to them on another part of this. All right. So how do you feel about your value, the word wealth, and wealthy people? What's the first thought that comes to your head when you hear money and or wealth? When you think of wealthy people, how do you feel? Has someone made you feel less valuable than what you are? Question you need to ask yourself. All right, so money mindset book. So Brian Carruthers, and for those who don't know who Brian Carruthers is, he's a gentleman and he's a network marketer. He's in Legal Shield and been pretty successful in Legal Shield, to say the least. But he's also an author. And two of his books are here. Money Mindset and Making My First 10 Million. In both of these books, he talks about attracting money, how to change your language, how to change the way you think so that you can attract money instead of repelling money. And that's one of the biggest takeaways in his books, is having leveraged income and how to feel about money in general. So you want to make sure that you understand that, right? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a giveaway for both of these books. And what I'm going to be doing is asking, because what we want to do is we want to get more people involved in this training. Obviously, I try to do it after 9 o'clock where people have done their other things already. I want to increase the numbers of people on this call. This call is for everybody. It's not just for people in network marketing. It's not just for people who do fitness training. It's not just for realtors that are on here because I invite them on because I work with them. It's for anybody to get on. So what I'm gonna do is, I have a way to see who's on the line and all that, all those different things. So what I want to do is I want to get people to invite. So the first person that can get 5 people on this training that I do every Wednesday, I will buy you both books and I will ship both books to you. Money Mindset and Making My First 10 Million. Now, look, guys, I get it. I get you can get the book on your own. They're not really expensive books. It's not about me doing something that you can't afford to do yourself. It's about creating a challenge, right? Get people on the training, win the free book. Make sense? So those are 2 books that you definitely want to read. So let's talk about, would your job or business pay you if you just showed up? Realtor, fitness trainer, network marketer? No, of course they wouldn't pay if you just showed up. They're paying you based on your value. Based on your value. So would your partner remain engaged and or your children consider you to be a good parent if you just lived there? Are you living in a time economy or a value economy? Are you salary, which is value, or wage, which is time? Why am I asking those questions? I'm asking those questions because you got to know the difference between values. So some people really believe that they're valuable because they get paid more per hour than somebody else. So because they think they're more valuable for that reason alone, now, granted, technically speaking, they are more valuable. The question is, do you know why you're more valuable? Are you valuable because you're there at that place because you're showing up, or are you valuable because of what you bring to the table? That's the question. If you're not sure, if you want to test whether or not your value is you clocking in, then start clocking in and not doing no work and see how long you keep that job. See, even though they pay you per hour, bringing some value. And you have to understand the value that you bring, because if you don't understand the value that you bring, let me tell you what's going to happen. If you don't understand the value, you're going to not know how to increase that value. So you can't increase your value if you don't understand what your value is. So going home, if you're a husband or a wife, or you shacked up with somebody, and I don't mean that in a bad way, you know what I mean? You living with somebody and y'all not married, right? Either one of those circumstances. If all you did was live there, you didn't engage with them, you guys didn't have any sex, you didn't have any conversations, you didn't cook for them, they didn't cook for you, y'all didn't support each other, y'all didn't help each other. When one person's check ran out, y'all don't support them, and they don't do the same thing for you, y'all don't raise the kids together, all those things, then how long would that relationship last? Would your children think you were a good parent if all you did was have them and say you can live here? The answer is no. Why? Because you have to now add value. What makes you a better parent than somebody else is what you bring to the table as a parent. What makes you a better spouse than somebody else, or significant other than somebody else, is your value, not the time that you're there. See, we understand quality time is important, but it's the quality of the time. Does that make sense? That's why we call it quality time. Because see, I can drive out of town for 5 hours and have my significant other in the car with me, and we could not say anything to each other. Did we spend any quality time together? So there is no value in us driving together out of town if we don't engage. If I listen to the music and she plays on her phone the entire time, and the kids are in the back seat with their headphones on, either playing games or talking to their friends, nobody in the car engages, then nobody spent quality time, and there was no value out of the time we spent together as a family. If you go to work and you don't actually do any work, you just clock in and you're in that building, and you keep going back and forth to the bathroom and you don't do any work. If you own a business and you unlock the door at 8 o'clock in the morning, then lock it again at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, but you don't accomplish anything in that office that you own, then you will not be open for long. Can I get a yes on that? You guys follow that?
Yes.
I'm giving you guys all these examples because I want you guys to realize the importance of value versus time.
Yes.
I want you guys to realize the difference between value versus time, because there's so many people who actually think that because they go to work and clock in, this is why they make what they make. Got to go punch the clock again. And guess what? When you tell yourself you got to go punch the clock again, your brain is thinking what? You got to go just punch the clock again. What if you went to work and you told yourself, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to go to work today and outwork everybody at this job. I'm going to go in here and get more done than I got done yesterday. What if every day you challenge yourself to do more? What if every day you challenge yourself to do more, but quarterly or semi-annually or annually, you went and took some classes to sharpen your skill so that you can get better at your job? What would that do for you? If you own a business, you're a fitness trainer, and you're saying, okay, I'm a fitness trainer. Yes, I know more than my clients, but let me figure out how to make my clients more comfortable. Let me figure out how to make how I make this more convenient for my clients. Let me figure out how I can get my clients to not have to come to the gym every day and say, hey, guess what? You can meet with me Monday and Tuesday, right? But then Thursday and Friday, we could do an online session so that you don't have to leave the house. You see what I'm saying? You can change your business acumen and rearrange how you set up to make your client happier, which now makes you more valuable, which means you can charge more money. Does that make sense? Why do you think some people charge $270 a month and some people charge $500 a month? It's not because their body look better. It's because they're making that person's body look better. They're making that customer more comfortable. Why are some realtors selling houses for $140,000 and some realtors selling houses for $1 million? Because they went into this thing saying, no, I'm going to sell properties to people who have more money. I'm gonna create more value. So it may take that person a little bit more time to close the deal because it's a bigger house, but the amount of money that they make more than a person selling a house for $150,000 is not even, it's beyond comparison. It's beyond comparison. The network marketer that says, they say I need to do 2 new exposures a day and 5 follow-ups. I follow that system. But somebody else is blowing me out the water because they're doing 10 exposures a day and they're doing 20 follow-ups because they can really do as many as they want. And they put that much into it because value. So if me and you are at lunch and we're both in a network marketing company, and while we're sitting there at lunch for 2 hours, we both get a deposit. Your deposit is 500 and my deposit is 5,000. Who's more valuable? And how did my value become 100 times more than yours? How did that happen? Somewhere along the line, I changed my mindset and I put myself in a position to be worth more than you. And it has nothing to do with my religion. It has nothing to do with my race. It has nothing to do with whether I'm gay or straight. It has nothing to do with whether I'm man or woman. So although we know that those things exist, a woman can't come to me and say, this is not fair. I live in America and I can't get paid like a man get paid. You can't come to me and tell me that when there's women that make more money than I do. I remember hearing Jim Rohn say, how much do you make? Not to me, but in a speech. How much do you make? And the company said, the gentleman said, I make $20 an hour, $25 an hour. $25 an hour. That's what he said he makes. Jim Rohn said, why do you make $25 an hour? He said, that's all the company does. That's all they pay me. That's all they got. Jim Rohn said, no, that's not all they got. That's all they give you. Because somebody there make more than $25 an hour. So they got more than $25 an hour to pay you. You just aren't receiving that because you haven't proven to them that you're that valuable. See, in the network marketing company that I'm a part of, Legal Shield, I remember the owner, before he sold it and passed, Harlan Stonecipher, used to say something that always caught my attention. He said, we're going to send you guys on an all expense paid trip once a year. He says the trip is open to everybody. The ones who want it will qualify. So when a guy drives by you in a Tesla or the Lamborghini don't ask yourself that question or shake your head or look like, how come they have that kind of car and you don't? You think Tesla won't let you in the front door? You think Lamborghini won't talk to you? Who told you that? Lamborghini will sell you a car. You just don't have enough money to buy one. That's the problem. Because you haven't created enough value to earn enough money to go get that Lamborghini. So the question is, how are you going to increase your value, right? Let's talk about that. Because it's easy to say that you're not worth what you need to be worth. The question is, what are you going to do about it, right? What are you going to do about it? When you provide more value, you will attract more money. When you provide more value, you will attract more money. If your home costs less, but could be appraised for more than it's worth right now, you would have more what? Drop that in the chat. Drop that answer in the chat for me. If your home, oh, sorry about that. Hold on. Well, y'all can't see what I'm doing. I'm apologizing, y'all, but y'all can't see what I'm doing anyway. So, I'm not. All right. So drop that in the chat for me. If your home costs less, but you could, but could be appraised for more than it's worth right now, you would have more what? What would you have more of? What would you have more of? Equity, value, money, profit. Come on, y'all, give me some more. What would you have more of? Y'all can still answer that's already there. Admirers, I love it, Jim. Mental freedom, Estella. Wealth, right? You would have more value. You would have more wealth. You would have more left. Those are all true answers. You would have more money. You'll probably have more friends, right? Because the home costs less, but could be appraised for more. Adds value, right? I'm going somewhere with this, right? Okay, so let me tell you a story about Steve Harvey's barber. So Steve Harvey's barber was making $10 an hour. $10 an hour. He was cutting Steve Harvey's hair. Steve Harvey started getting famous. And because Steve Harvey was cutting his hair off, he was about to go bald, right? Well, he wasn't going bald yet, but he was, if you guys that are familiar with Steve Harvey, y'all know Steve Harvey was known for having the sharp hair. Anytime you saw Steve Harvey, his hair was sharp. His edge up was sharp. Everything was crisp every time you saw him. When he started traveling, he started taking this guy with him, and he was paying him $300 a haircut. So it went from $10 to $300 a haircut because what? He's taking the guy with him. So this guy now, some of his time freedom was gone because he couldn't cut his other customers' hair. He couldn't spend time with his family because he was on the road with Steve Harvey. In the process of him doing this and cutting the other people's hair that he was with Steve Harvey, he made a name for himself because he was Steve Harvey's traveling barber. So when Steve Harvey cut all his hair off and said, I'm going bald, he gave the guy a big check for doing all of that traveling with him. And the guy used the money to open up 3 barbering schools and a couple of barbershops. This guy only cuts hair for people that are famous now. And then he teaches a barber school. And he has 3 different barber schools with teachers in them. How did that barber go from $10 an hour, or $10 a haircut, I should say, to $300 a haircut? By creating value in himself. He created value in himself. I look at the couple in Legal Shield, the Winds, who I know, and watch them go. Now I think right now they're on their 13th month and they've made $340,000 in 13 months, selling the same product. The same product that some of us on this webinar sell. The same opportunity afforded that couple I have and some other people on this line have. But they made $340,000 in 13 months. What is that? Value. Darnell Self. No, let's take Brian Carruthers, the guy who authored the books that I showed you guys a few slides back. Over $1 million a year he makes in network marketing with the company called Legal Shield. That's not what I make. I make 100,000 a year. He make a million a year. That's a big difference. But he offers the same product. He has the same opportunity. The same opportunities afforded him is afforded me. So how is it that he's earning that much more money than I am? Value. He's more valuable. The more value you bring to the workplace, the more value you bring to the business, the more you end up being worth. The question is, can you figure out a way to cost less, but be appraised more than your worth? How do you figure that one out? Let's look at 2 ways to build your confidence, 2 ways to build your value. So confidence, visualize yourself as you want to be. How can you do that, ladies and gentlemen? With a vision board, with affirmations, with neutral thinking and saying, I'm not going to say negative things about myself. Visualize yourself as you want to be. You build your confidence. See, when you build your confidence, you build value. Because the more confidence you have, the more you're willing to agree that you're worth a certain amount of money. See, there's a lot of people who are worth more than what they will admit because they don't have the confidence to say so. And what happens is an insecure person will call a confident person arrogant. You guys got that? That's a tweetable, right? An insecure person will see a confident person and call them arrogant. When in essence, they're really just a confident person. And see, when you create confidence in yourself, you will value yourself and you will ask for what you're worth. Let's look at value. Help someone for free. Oh, that's something that people don't like to do. Internship adds to your value. I heard about Barbara Smith a minute ago talking about Les Brown. Les Brown has a real interesting story about when he became a radio jockey. And he told a really funny story, and all of his stories are funny because he's just funny, right? Les Brown's just a funny guy. And he talked about how he kept going back and forth to the studio. And every time he went, they say, hey, man, get out of here. We told you we're not looking. We don't have no openings. We're not hiring right now. And he would go back up there the next day, tell him his name and say he was looking for a job. And the guy said, man, didn't I just tell you yesterday that we wasn't hiring? He said, yeah, but I came up here just in case you fired somebody. I'm available to hire. They said, no, we ain't firing nobody. Get out of here. He come back again the next day. And when he walked in the next day, the guy says, go get me a cup of coffee. He went and got the guy a cup of coffee. So he started working at the radio station. He was working for free. Interning. And then one day, the main record jockey or disc jockey came to work under the influence and was still drinking while he was spinning the records. And when they found that out, they said, hey, they called the studio and told Les Brown, hey, do us a favor, go ahead and call the other DJ and ask if they could come in and cover for this guy so we can get him off air. And Les Brown said, yeah, okay. I'm gonna call him. He called the older back and said, hey, call him, he didn't answer. And that was his chance to get on the radio. And he got on the radio and he became a disc jockey. Why am I telling you this story? Because he interned. He worked for free for a specific amount of time. I do trainings every Wednesday for free. Why do you think that is? because you got to add value. You got to add value to what you're doing. Me and other trainers do a CDLP coaching call every Monday night for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. Been doing it since January of 2018. We don't get paid to do it. We do it because it adds value. I have a YouTube channel that I put videos on that are sometimes an hour and a half long. Training videos that I shot, that it cost me to shoot the videos, and it takes an hour and a half out of my time to make the video, and then I have to edit the video, and I have to upload the video and all the stuff. I had to put it in screens, and I have to do intros and all this stuff. And I don't get paid to do that. I'm not selling the video and putting it on YouTube for free, but it adds value. I said 2 weeks ago, to find out whether or not you're working in your vision or in your purpose, what you have to do is ask yourself, would you do what you're doing right now for free? Not go do it for free. I'm not saying don't take the money, like Jim Rohn said, I take the money. I don't need the money, but I take the money, right? The question is, would you do what you do right now for free? Because if not, man, it's going to be real tough for you to be extremely happy and extremely wealthy and add extreme value to yourself if you would not do it free. So if what you do right now for a living you would do for free, go ahead and put it in the chat. I see Cookie, Nora, Fleet, and Lynette already beat y'all to it. Clarence already beat y'all to it. So would you do it for free? Because you got to be able to add value to the people that you're asking to trust you. Or if you're going to ask somebody for money to provide a service, then what are you doing for free? At some point, I'm going to be training for, I'm going to be getting paid to do personal training for people. At some point. It's not on my agenda right now because I got a lot of things going on. But guess what I do now? I help people for free. I got a guy I grew up with in Buffalo, New York, that now lives in Tampa, Florida, called me about a month and a half ago and said, I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. I said, this is what you do. I told him what to do. He talked to me once a week. He called me yesterday and told me he's lost 11 pounds so far. Did he pay me anything? No, absolutely he didn't pay me. I'm not going to ask him for any money. You know why? Because I did it for free, because it does what? It adds value. Let's move down to confidence. So creating small wins is how you create confidence. So sometimes we're wondering, where are we going to get our confidence from, right? How do I get my confidence in place? Small wins. See, we all think we got to get this really big, huge win to get confidence. And really you don't. Something as small as having a to-do list, right? Small to-do list. And every day when you're going through it, check it off. Check it off. Man, I'm telling you, you feel good in the morning. I just did an exercise with Barbara Smith, and Barbara Smith is going to do this exercise for a week. When she gets on the line and I ask her about how it makes her feel, watch how she says it made her feel if she completes the exercise. So you don't have to do a lot to build confidence. It's a little bit at a time. It's little small wins. And for some reason, people think that they have to have this colossal situation happen. If tomorrow you say, look, I haven't been making any phone calls, I need to make phone calls in my business. I'm trying to add new clients. I'm trying to sell more properties. I'm trying to build my network marketing team. Whatever it is you do, right? I'm trying to get a raise at my job or get an advancement in my level at my job. If you just do a little bit every day, if you don't go to the gym at all right now and you start going to the gym once a week, your confidence will go up a little bit. And once your confidence goes up and you feel better about yourself, you'll start to do twice a week. And somebody will say, oh, you only go to the gym twice a week? But guess what? You weren't going at all at one time. I go to the gym 7 days a week. Literally 7 days a week I go to the gym. I run 5 miles 7 days a week. I wasn't doing that 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was going to the gym whenever I can get there. I was walking in my community when I was on conference calls. So when the team call came on, I would go outside and I would walk in my neighborhood while that hour-long call was on. When the leadership show was on, I would get on my phone, listen to the leadership show, and I would walk. If I was on some kind of conference call because I was in some mastermind group, I would walk while I was on that conference call. So I was only walking when it fit in my schedule to do so. Now I walk or run for 5 miles a day. Why? One small win at a time. Value, replace bad habits with good habits. So let me tell you what's so interesting about changing how you live, changing how you operate, changing how your business runs, changing how you're a husband, how you're a wife, how you're an employee. Replacing bad habits with good habits. One at a time. So it's really hard for me to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and eat a snack that I shouldn't be eating. You know why? Because I don't have none in my house. And although I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I do want a snack that I shouldn't be eating, I don't want it bad enough to go all the way to Walmart to get one. Because that's the only place that's going to be open at 3 o'clock in the morning outside of maybe a gas station. So the question is, are you putting your bad habits in a painful enough place that you won't reach for them? That's the question you got to ask yourself. So we got a habit of putting our bad habits close enough for us to comfortably reach them. So you got to make it uncomfortable to do things that you shouldn't be doing. If I open my refrigerator right now, you know what's in there? Bottled water, few bags of kale, eggs, things to make healthy smoothies. You look at my freezer right now, you know what's in my freezer? Chicken, seafood, ice, vegetables. You look at my pantry, you know what's in there? Low sodium snacks, nothing sweet. Why? Because I don't want those things within reach, because I wanted to get rid of those bad habits. Why is your business not going in the direction that it should go? Because you got a lot of bad habits going on that you haven't replaced, and you're keeping those bad habits reachable. And we do that purposely. I remember it was a time when I would literally go to bed and take a snack in a room and put it on my nightstand. You guys follow that? I was making it convenient for me to get to the snack, because I knew if I woke up in the middle of the night and I wanted a snack, I wasn't even gonna feel like walking to the pantry. So I said, well, let me just bring this in my bedroom and put it on my nightstand, so all I gotta do is turn over and reach for it. The problem is you're doing that in your business. The problem is you're doing that at your job. Why are you stuck in a place? Because you haven't replaced those bad habits with good habits. So I got rid of the sweets and I put bottled water in the refrigerator. So when it was time for me to run, and I said, you know what? I want to run for this ring. Right? I took my kid's picture off my phone and put my financial goal on my phone. I changed up my whiteboard. I took my bad habit of talking to people on the phone that called me and said, when people call me, I'm not going to answer. I'm only going to make phone calls. Replace the bad habit with a good habit. You got a bad habit of not picking up the phone and calling your prospects. You need to replace that bad habit with a good habit, and it's obvious what good habit that should be. Making phone calls. The question is, how do you make it painful enough for you to do that? We know that to motivate ourselves, there's pain and there's pleasure. Those are typically the two things that we use to motivate ourselves. Either I'm doing it because I want the reward, or I'm doing it so that I don't hurt. So either I want the reward that I have at the end of me doing this good thing, like which could be more money, or I don't want to be put out of my house. That's why I'm working this hard. So whatever God you serve has given you pleasure and pain as a reward to motivate yourself. Why would you get rid of one of those? Why would you take it upon yourself and say, oh, you know what? I don't want no pain. I don't want to deal with anything that's going to hurt. No, the pain is what motivates you. So you got to use the pain to motivate yourself to do the things that you're supposed to do. So if I go to the gym and I walk out the gym and I'm not sore, like I didn't feel a burn, that means I didn't get a workout. See, I'm using the pain. See, the pain is a guide on whether or not I did what I was supposed to have been doing. Because if I'm working out and I'm not burning, then that means that I'm not working out hard enough. If you're going out to talk to new prospects and not hearing anybody tell you no, doors not being slammed in your face, people not saying get lost, people not saying nobody don't need that. If people aren't saying, hey, look, I'm good. I don't need no personal trainer. They cost too much. I'm good. I'll do it on my own. I don't trust personal trainers. You're not getting no pushback because you're not out there doing anything. I remember I heard once somebody told me, if you're not having a head-on collision with the devil, that means y'all going in the same direction. And that's not good. You got to be running into challenges. And you got to be replacing those bad habits with good habits daily. Daily. Benjamin Franklin said, your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. Your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. The question is, are you willing to write a list of all your bad habits on the left side of a sheet of paper? Because that's your homework. Write a list of all your bad habits on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, figure out what you're going to replace that bad habit with. And do it a little bit at a time. Don't do it all at once, a little bit at a time. If you say, I drink 2 Diet Cokes a day, no, 3. I drink 3 Diet Cokes a day. Guess what? You don't got to stop them all at once. Your body is the best built machine ever. You don't have to stop them all at once, but do this. Put on that sheet, bad habit, 3 Diet Cokes a day. And if you don't think Diet Coke is bad for you, then we need to have another conversation. That's an off the record conversation. You got me? 3 Cokes a day. I want you to say, replace that with bottled water. Not Gatorade, because Gatorade ain't good for you either. Replace that with some type of filtered or bottled water, even if you got to do it one at a time. So if a month from now, you're drinking 2 Diet Cokes a day and 1 bottle of water, that's progress. Because that means in 3 months, 90 days, you went from taking 3 Diet Cokes a day to drinking 3 bottled waters a day. And that's going to have a huge outcome. on how you feel, how you look. If your bad habit is, I need to add more customers to my database, but I'm not making the phone calls, I'm not prospecting. That's a bad habit. Replace that with a good habit. Let's start by making 5 calls a day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't say 20 calls. Don't say 30 calls. Don't say 40 calls. Let me do 5 calls a day. Add 5 calls a day to your agenda for a month. Next month, add 5 more. Next month, add 5 more. I promise you, if in 90 days you went from making no calls to 15 calls a day in 90 days, you will see the change in the outcome of your business. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna open up here in a second. Because yeah, we had that part. Future entrepreneurial education. Next week, we're gonna go over part 1 and part 2 again, of course, as a quick recap. You know, it took me about 2 or 3 minutes to do that. We're gonna talk about streams of income, how many you should have and why. And we're gonna be talking about creating value for your team, whether you have a team that works for you, whether you got 9 to 5 and you got your supervisor, you got a team under you, whether you're in network marketing and you have an organization. We're gonna talk about how to create value for your team. Got something called leadership levels, right? The 5 levels of leadership by John C. Maxwell. You gotta know how to get people in a direction to change their life. Now, this may hurt to somebody, but it's necessary. If you have gone through this life and have not helped anybody, then you have lived for nothing. You have lived for nothing. We are all here to serve. So if you are not benefiting somebody, and I don't mean I'm benefiting my spouse because I'm married to him. No. I'm not talking about be that shallow. If you cannot think of somebody that you help advance their life, then you have done nothing with your life. So we're going to talk about creating value for your team, and you can use that information for creating value for anybody you want. Yes, yes? All right, good stuff. Let me go ahead and get out of this. My camera on here. All right, so any questions? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Anybody have any questions about anything? We're going to answer a couple questions before we close out. You guys know what the agenda is for next week. You will get an email tomorrow with the information to register for next week's training. So you'll get the email tomorrow with that link in it. So that's when you'll see that. And it'll also be on Facebook and stuff too. So if anybody have any questions, unmute yourself and I'll answer the questions as quick as I can. Anybody that needs to go, I know it's 10:30, 10:29, so definitely need to go ahead and leave, but we're gonna be here for a couple minutes to answer questions. Anybody?